Hello, welcome to the Basketball Addicts podcast. Today we have an interesting one. So this is more of a reaction that we're talking about here. So basically, I've seen a problem for about a week or 2 weeks that people, NBA media, I feel like everybody's getting false information a little bit. Um, as a basketball addict myself, uh, I think the problem here is about the Bulls. Now, I think that people are misunderstanding the Bulls. People are hating on what they did in free agency. First things first, any team that actually goes out there and says, hey, we start with Zach LaVine, and then a few years later, we end up with Nikola Vucevic. No, not Nikola Vucevic. Oh, yeah, Nikola Vucevic. For some reason, I was thinking of Nikola Jokic. I got him switched up in my mind. Nikola Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan paired around Zach LaVine in 3 years. That's commendable, right? Great job as a franchise. I will never hate on a team for just trying to stick the young guys. We see a teams trying to hold on to young guys all the time. It did not work. I mean, look at the Pelicans. They lose Lonzo Ball, who's an amazing fit with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Boston Celtics, we have all these draft picks. We have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. One of them is going to eventually hit. No, none of them have hit like that. You know what I mean? So a lot of times they fail because eventually you have to pay the guys, right? Atlanta Hawks are eventually going to run into this problem with John Collins, Onyeka Ngakwu, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, Trae Young. You can't pay them all, right? So, it's commendable for a team for trying to go and win, right? And I feel like people are underrating how perfect that team fits. The reason why I'm saying that is I think people are underrating. There's basically, this is the context of why I'm upset. People are saying max they get to the second round. Now, I feel like any team faces the Brooklyn Nets in the East, they lose, right? I feel like most people feel that. They're a juggernaut, super team. We all know what they are. Things are not going to change there. So yeah, that's inevitable. If the Chicago Bulls face them before getting the Eastern Conference Finals, then yeah, I mean, they're done. Then everybody will be right, and they'll say, "I told you so." And, in theory, they can be right. But I think they're the second best team in the East. I feel like people are sleeping on how special Zach LaVine is. And they also have a problem with Nikola Vucevic too. And I think the problem is the Chicago Bulls. Nobody really watched them unless, Chris and I were watching Zach LaVine. Right, we were watching Chicago Bulls games to say, "Oh, I want to watch Zach LaVine today." That's basically what it was. The rest of the roster wasn't great. They were young. Patrick Williams was in his rookie year. You saw flashes. Oh, this guy could eventually be a good wing defender. 6'8", 6'9". Kobe White's is he like a full time point guard? He's more of like a great sixth man. But Zach LaVine was special. Zach LaVine was special all last season. Right, this guy went to the Olympics. He basically is unbelievable. He is an athletic freak of nature. We all know what he is, a slam dunk. I feel like people are stuck in slam dunks Zach LaVine. This guy is ridiculous from the three-point line. He's pushing high 30s three-point percentage. Right? He has the potential to be a 40% three-point shooter down the line. Right? Which is ridiculous because it's not like he's just shooting, oh my gosh, we got LeBron James, we're kicking to the corner. Oh, Danny Green, shoot a shot that's wide open. Right? Because that's the read LeBron. No, it's tough shots, right? So it's amazing what he does. He has the upside to become the greatest shooting guard in the league after James Harden. And him and Devin Booker right now are basically equals, in my opinion. Next year, I think they're going to be basically equals. Zach LaVine might even have the edge because he is a much better defender. It's crazy to me how much we as NBA fans will sleep on a bad team, a great player on a bad team. I was so upset last season when Trae Young didn't make the All-Star game. I thought people were come on, Ben Simmons? Bro, Ben Simmons is like score like 14 points per game, and we're giving him like, come on now, Trae Young was losing his mind the whole year, and then they magically go on the run, right? And then they make the playoff run, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Trae Young is this great point guard, but nobody was saying it when we all thought he was a great player on a bad team. Right, we had that problem with Devin Booker when Devin Booker dropped like 81 points. No, not 81 points. It's got like 70 something in a game. Might have been just 70 flat. In a game, he was on the bad Phoenix Suns teams. He was a great player, great scorer, but I was like, oh, can he do it in the playoffs? We've just always had this stupid thought process that's, oh, if we haven't seen him do in the playoffs yet, then we don't know what he is, right? We know what Zach LaVine is, right? You don't have to see him in the playoffs to know that guy would dominate any game. Right? It doesn't matter. He's special. He's probably a top 20 player in the league already. That's not even a joke. That's not even me trying to get clickbait here. He's special. And then so when you go after that, you talk about DeMar DeRozan pairing with him is amazing. Because Zach LaVine I'm a great shot maker from the three. I put a ton of pressure at the rim due to my athleticism and speed, right? And he understands the game of basketball, too. He understands how to score. Seems like a guy who works on his game tirelessly. So he's going to be better next year. But you pair that with DeMar DeRozan, who the only gap in Zach LaVine's game is he's not great in the mid-range. DeMar DeRozan is like probably top two behind Devin Booker, the greatest mid-range shooting guard in the league, scoring. He's going to put up, in this big three that they have set up, he's probably going to average 20. Right, extremely efficient, tough shot maker. You need a shot at the end of the game, 2 points. Give it to him. Like, the dude creates space. He's gonna be great next year, right? He's still athletic. It's just on the Spurs. Another guy stuck on a bad team, right? But what I think people are sleeping on, Milwaukee Bucks just went to the NBA championship. You really telling me a real NBA fan is going to choose Chris Middleton before they choose DeMar DeRozan? Now, the NBA media might choose Chris Middleton, but that guy is inconsistent, right? Chris Muhammad will tell you he's the most consistent player of all time because he's consistently inconsistent, which is a great line. Like, DeMar DeRozan is extremely consistent. DeMar DeRozan, you're going to get 18 to 20 a night. Doesn't matter who's guarding him. LeBron James, D. Wade, bring back Michael Jordan from the dead. He's dropping 20 at least. Right? So, I just, sleeping on him. So, if his role players are better than the second role player for the Bulls, not for the Bulls, for the Bucks that just won an NBA championship, Jrue Holiday is a better defender than Lonzo Ball, but Lonzo Ball is probably a better three-point shooter. Which lose what you knew about him in college, because the guy shot 38% from the three-point line last year, right? He doesn't try to do too much. Great pick-and-roll guy, but his passing level is ridiculous. He's one of the top 3 passers in the NBA. It's probably him and his brother. LeBron, CP3, and Lonzo Ball are all in the top 3, and then it's like LaMelo chilling at like 4 or 5, off the top of my head. Nikola Jokic. I guess they're all in top 5. So he's special as a passer. So that's amazing for a super team to have a fourth guy like that can be a great passer, right? He's going to average probably 13 or 14, shoot really well from the three-point line, be an extremely elite defender, right? What this team needs defense, and be an amazing world-class passer, which this team needs. So him or Jrue Holiday, it's close, right? Jrue Holiday is a better fit with Giannis, so that heightens Jrue Holiday because they need the shot creating. But Lonzo Ball is the better fit on the Bulls than Jrue Holiday, right? So they're like, it's close. But then I didn't even say Nikola Vucevic. Now this is where things become problematic, and this is where I'm upset. Because Nikola Vucevic has been in the All-Star game multiple times. Nikola Vucevic is a top 5 center in the NBA. I don't care how much you want to scream and yell to me that Rudy Gobert is this amazing defender. And oh my gosh, Nikola Vucevic is a different planet as a center than Rudy Gobert, especially offensively. The guy's 7 foot. He could be a great post player, but he's an amazing 3-point shooter. So every time you try to do the pick and roll with Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball, he can space, right? Or he can finish inside. He's got a good mid-range game, good face-up game. He's going to average like 18 and 10 and be extremely efficient because he's going to offer you the three-point shooting of Kevin Love. At 7 foot with more post game than Kevin Love did with the Cavs and be taller and actually be a center. Like, he's an amazing super team fit because what he does is very rare. There's only a few centers in the league that could shoot like him. Like Nikola Jokic is more skilled, right? He's in his class as a 3-point shooter as a big. He's in a rarefied air. So then you add all of that together, and then you add Patrick Williams. I think people are sleeping on how good Patrick Williams is going to be for this team because he's going to be able to defend, right? 6'8", 6'9", big body. The guy is built out of granite. He's athletic. He doesn't do anything else right now, but you have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and Nikola Vucevic. You don't need him to do anything else right now. You just need to be a role player and play defense, which he's going to be able to do at a high level. So I think people are tripping because they face the 76ers. Yeah, Embiid might be the best player in the series, but they're going to be able to keep Embiid away from the basket. Who's stopping Zach LaVine at the rim then? Who's stopping DeMar DeRozan at the rim? Who's stopping Lonzo Ball at the rim? Like, you guys are tripping. This team's a matchup nightmare. Yeah, Giannis might be able to be good against him, but the other pieces are going to be too elite offensively for the Bucks. They can't match up with that. Not a chance. They can't score enough to beat them. And then you had Kobe White, who's going to be a great six-man. Because I just said, Kobe White doesn't seem like a great point guard, but off the bench, man, he'd be really good as a six-man, scoring and trying to attack the basket. Like, that's Kobe White. Kobe White's going to fit beautifully. And then you have Alex Caruso, who's a good 3-and-D guy who can guard 2s and 1s, right? Now, the worry is they don't have a great depth behind that at the forward and the center position. But this is a ridiculous starting five that gels extremely well with each other, and people are tripping. This team's a top 5 team in the league. They're probably number 5 because the West is stacked with like Denver and Golden State and the Lakers, but it's a special team that fits so beautifully well together. And I just think what it is people are sleeping on them because they all come from bad teams. And that's our fault as NBA analysts and NBA people who talk about NBA. It's just they fit beautifully. It's rare to find a team that fits so well together that's a super team. I mean, even James Harden and Kyrie Irving have problems because they do similar things scoring guards, right? Creating off the dribble. They both need the ball to be who they are, right? So that's why James Harden becomes more of the passer because, he's more of like a phenomenal passer than anybody else on the floor. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, you have them at the same position. They do basically the same thing. So, they're reduced because their names might be bigger, but what Zach LaVine does is nothing that DeMar DeRozan does, other than attacking the rim. What Lonzo Ball does is nothing like what Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan do. And what Nikola Vucevic does, completely different from what everybody else does. They have guys that fit beautifully to it together, and I feel like people don't really understand it like that. They might say, oh, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, both 2 guards, how is this going to fit? They score from completely different spots. Like, what are you guys smoking? Like, I think people are sleeping on how deadly this team is going to be. Because, Lonzo Ball's a great defender. Patrick Williams is going to defend. Zach LaVine showed flashes of being a great defender in the Olympics. Right? So now that he has the scoring load taken off him a little bit, he's probably going to be able to defend better. He's a phenomenal athlete. You telling me he's not going to be able to defend now that he has less of a load to carry? And you have a 7-footer inside? Like, what are you guys smoking? This team fits beautifully. Like, they might not have the star power of Giannis and JoJo, but Zach LaVine's close enough to be like, oh, well, the star power is going to dominate. And it's not that crazy. The Bucks walked into the NBA championship with luck, right? That's not their NBA championship. But they just won the NBA championship, so everybody views how can the Bulls be better than the team that just won the NBA championship? They just won the NBA. Like, they beat nobody that was healthy. Trae Young wasn't healthy. The Nets was not healthy, right? I mean, the Suns, they were healthy, but the Suns got there by beating teams that were not healthy. Denver did not have Murray. LeBron James was not healthy. AD was not healthy. Like, what do you guys? I mean, they faced the Kawhi Leonard-less Clippers, but we're somehow putting value in NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. Right? When Giannis is amazing, yes. Is Zach LaVine better than Giannis? No. Is Zach LaVine better than Joel Embiid? No. But the team over there is better. And I just, it makes me so upset. I feel like we just don't understand basketball. I feel like most of the guys who talk about basketball don't really understand it or speak it from a different area that they played in. And it's ridiculous, man. These guys are sleeping on how good this team fits together. Their offensive firepower is ridiculous. So even if you have more defensive, like the Heat, they're not going to score enough. The Heat are not have a chance. Would not have a single chance at beating the Bulls. No, not a chance. Right? It's ridiculous. Teams are really sleeping on how good this team's going to be. We're gonna stick a flag in the ground and say their max is getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, getting beat by a healthy Nets. But if the Nets get hurt again, and it's like, oh, it's them versus the Bucks, they're gonna shock the world. But they really have a team that fits better than them, and they just have more legitimate pieces. So yeah, this is what we're going with here. I'm Jason Collins. We're the Basketball Addicts. You guys can check out our podcast anywhere that you guys listen to podcasts. So yeah, have a great day, and I'm signing off here.